If you've ever had a conversation with anybody about EV charging, what's the first complaint that always comes up? It's that the charging is too slow. Well, today we're going over the 4 main reasons behind this and how it's going to get way better. The first and main factor that determines the speed of an EV charger actually has nothing to do with the physical charger itself. It's all about the electricity or the power going into the charger. Imagine a garden hose. The brand of the garden hose doesn't influence how much water is going to shoot out the end. It's all about the pressure of the water going into the hose that's going to determine the output. So back to EV charging, the amount of electrical that's pumped into the charger is going to determine how much comes out the other side. The higher the amperage of the breaker that the charger is connected to is going to determine the kilowatt output of the charger. The second biggest factor that influences the speed of EV charging is the type of car. All electric vehicles are different, and they all charge at different speeds. This is called the peak charge rate, and it essentially means how much electricity the car can receive at any given time from the chargers. If we use level 3 DC fast chargers as an example, some cars have a really high peak charge rate, so if they plug into a level 3 charger, they'll be able to receive the full capacity of that charge. Some cars have a lower peak charge rate, so they can still plug into that level 3 DC fast charger, but they won't get the benefit of receiving the full amount of that charge. The third factor that affects the speed of EV charging is something called load sharing. To give a rough example here, let's say there was a whole lineup of EV chargers and they were all connected to the same breaker. If you were the only one there and you pulled in and started charging your EV, you'd receive all the electricity from that breaker. But if these chargers are set up on load sharing, then if another driver pulls in besides you and starts charging, they're going to take half of that electricity or share the load with you. And this will apply to all 4 chargers. So if 4 people are charging, they're going to receive 25% of the electricity from that breaker. All right, the last one on the list, number 4 here, is to do with the lithium batteries. Let's call this factor slows after 80%. These lithium batteries, they don't like to go all the way empty or be all the way full. This is why it's always recommended to keep your battery between 10 and 80%. You never want it to drop all the way down to 0 or be up all the way to 100. This damages the longevity of the battery, so it's always safer to keep it in that range. The more empty the battery is, the faster it will charge. So as the battery becomes more and more full, the charge is going to slow down. There you have it. Also, if you're working on your own EV charging project, feel free to give me a shout. I'd be happy to help. And if you want to keep following the journey, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks so much for checking in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.